What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I've got another Palantir update for you. They just got a brand new contract with a company out in California. We're going to go over everything we need to know about that specific contract, and we're going to go over some of the other different news events that has come out for Palantir in the recent past and what we can expect from the share price in Palantir in the near future. So before we get into all of that information, if you guys enjoyed this video, please go down and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. It really helps me get this information out to as many people as possible. You get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks and learn about a couple of new ones, as well as learn some of my very specific option trading strategies and follow along with the plays that I make. So if we go over and take a look at the chart of Palantir, we can see that it has had an unbelievable run up, kind of sold off a little bit and was kind of bouncing around up here. Towards the end of the year, it had a little bit of a sell-off. A lot of people were probably taking some profits, which gave some selling pressure in the share price of Palantir. It recently had a little bit of a run-up and then was downgraded by Citigroup around here to a $15 price target, which was actually a price target raise. Their previous price target was $10 and they raised it to $15 while downgrading it to a sell, which is kind of confusing, but that's just what Citigroup did. And then Ark came in and bought a massive amount of shares right around here, making the share price shoot up about 6% after hours. And on the news today that Palantir just received its new contract, Palantir is up at the current time around 4.5%. So if we get into the new contract that Palantir just received, we can see that Palantir providing technology to enhance safety and reliability of electric grid in California. And this is going to be done through the Foundry system. So Pacific Gas and Electric Company has initiated deployment of Palantir's Foundry software to provide a single integrated platform to give decision makers a real-time, complete operational picture. Now, that's kind of what the Foundry platform is. It's like a dashboard that kind of integrates all the data that the company is receiving on a day-to-day business basis and kind of gives them a very concise dashboard that basically shows exactly everything that's going on. So the use of this novel technology in its early stages of deployment has already enabled PG&E to make effective, timely, data-driven decisions related to its public safety power shutoff program. It is intended to further inform its wildfire risk mitigation programs and initiatives in the future. Now that's very important because California has had a pretty bad wildfire problem over the past couple of years. As we saw with the last wildfire, it was a very bad situation. A lot of people lost their homes, and Palantir might be able to help prevent these and save people a lot of money in the future. So this is the statement from Palantir right here. Our engagement with California's largest investor-owned utility underlines our commitment to increasing safety and reliability for customers and communities across the region. Now, this was said by Olivier Farache, I think is how you pronounce his last name, Palantir's head of utility sector and senior advisor to the CEO. It shows our Foundry software can power data-driven decisions that aim to improve service delivery. Now, this is also kind of important because there was kind of a hit piece article put out about Palantir's Foundry platform, and it was really from the CDC saying that the Foundry platform wasn't working as intended to help fight the pandemic, but it really didn't have any weight. There wasn't really any reason for them to say this, and now that this article has come out and this company really likes the Foundry platform, I'd say it's safe to say that all of Palantir's government contracts are safe. So now this is one of the most important parts right here, this multi-year, multi-million-dollar contract. There hasn't been any articles released what the actual number of the payment that Palantir is going to be receiving, but I'm assuming that it's going to be pretty big. At least $10 million is what I'm predicting, and it could go all the way up to the $40 million mark a year, and it is a multi-year deal. So it's also the first time Palantir's Foundry software is being used by a major U.S. utilities operations. Now, in the future, plans for Foundry include expanding to inform asset risk and outage investigation, eventually bringing in data from all aspects of the company's operations to enable enterprise analytics and process improvement. Now, that's very important. If we come over here, we can also see that Palantir also soared when Ark bought a lot of shares. So if we come over to this website right here, we can see that Ark has a pretty substantial position in Palantir. They began scaling in their position back in October, massively ramped up their position in early November by about 1 million shares, and then has been buying pretty consistently in small amounts throughout the end of the year, and then bought 500,000 shares throughout one day last week. Now that's caused the share price to go up a lot, which was a very good sign for Palantir, because when a company, an investment firm like Ark, when they're so successful and actively traded like they are, puts a lot of capital behind a given company, it gives investors a lot of confidence in the actual underlying asset. Now, if we come over here, this website is Lucid Tracking. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but this shows the actual daily buying amount of Palantir for the past week. So as we can see, they bought on the 8th, the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th. The 14th was when they bought their 500,000 share position, and then on the 15th, they also bought some more. So Palantir is doing a great job right now in terms of getting new contracts. I think it's very good to see them not only getting government contracts to help fight the pandemic, but also some other contracts with some private companies. Now, I think that is going to really help boost their valuation. A lot of analysts have come out and said they are kind of overvalued right now, and they don't think that this growth can continue because they're bringing in a lot of their revenue because of the pandemic. Now, Palantir has two very important events coming up in its near future. Demo Day on the 26th of January and earnings on February 11th. That's the predicted date right now. So Demo Day on the 26th is basically going to provide product demonstrations of its Foundry, Titan, and Apollo platforms. Those are going to be very important. They're also going to show real-life examples of its commercial and government work. That's going to be important because we know exactly what the details of all of the government contracts that Palantir has, but we have not seen the actual things that Palantir is doing. So once we get more insight on how Palantir is helping these different government agencies handle the pandemic, I think we're going to get a big boost in valuation because Palantir is going to unveil some things that we have not seen before. Now, I've gone ahead and bought a couple of option positions on Palantir for these events. So I have the February 19th, 2021 $30 strikes. Now, these are up a pretty substantial amount today. Pretty happy about it. I'm up about 100% on this position. So if you guys got into these plays when I was calling them out, congratulations. We can see that the open interest is about 41,000. That means that about 41,000 of these contracts are being held in people's brokerage accounts right now. And today, the current volume is about 8,000 contracts that were bought and sold. Now, that could be that people are selling off some of their contracts or buying into new positions. But in general, the implied volatility on this contract is pretty high. So at this point, you do have to be pretty careful. I think that Palantir is going to exceed the $30 price point by earnings. That's why I have these. Usually I buy contracts that are way farther out of the money and way cheaper. When I bought these, they were about, I think, in the 90-cent range to $1.20. I'm not sure exactly what the price was that I bought them at, but my gain right now is about 80 to 100%. Now that's pretty good for options. It's usually not what I shoot for. I usually shoot for hopefully between 500 and 1,000% gains, just so it gives me some cushion that I can be wrong on some trades and still make profit. So if one of my 10 trades goes 1,000%, I can be wrong 9 out of every 10 trades and break even. So if we go over and take a look at the puts as well, we can see that there is a pretty heavy open interest for this date. So there are some people that are betting against Palantir in the coming weeks. I think people are expecting there to be a pretty massive sell the news event after Demo Day and earnings. And 3 days after earnings, there is going to be a share lockup period expiration where a lot of people are thinking that Palantir shares will sell off. I don't think that's going to be the case, especially if you watch my last video. Alex Karp and Stephen Cohen look like they are going to be purchasing a massive amount of Palantir shares, about $180 million worth in the near future. So if you haven't watched my previous video on Palantir, make sure you go watch that one. I explained the entire buying process that they had to go through. But in general, I think that they are going to be making this purchase on the share lockup period expiration day. So it kind of takes away some of the volatility and the selling pressure that might happen. And I think the amount of shares that they are going to buy in the time leading up to all of these events is going to cause some pretty bullish buying pressure in Palantir, which I think will push it over the $30 mark. So that's going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed what I had for you in this one, please go down and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. It helps me get this information out to as many people as possible, and you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks and learn about a couple of new ones. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope you guys are having a really profitable trading day.